You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back, Rudrance, for Black and White Sports 2. Well, we're going to talk about Texas A&M legend, of course, Johnny Manziel is who we're going to talk about here. Local boy to me here. His family is from about 45 minutes away. Very well-known family around here. And, of course, Johnny was one hell of a college football player. One of those guys that a lot like Tim Tebow, just sort of took over everything when he was in college football. And the kid was must-see television. But as we know, it did not work out for him in the National Football League. A lot of that, number one, probably drafted way too high. Number two, Josh McDaniels. Did he really know how to use Johnny Manziel? Number three, Johnny just did not have his head screwed on straight. The fact is, I think Johnny bought in to his persona, and hell, he loved to party. He loved to party, and that went back as far as anybody could remember. Well, Johnny Manziel dropped some shocking information out there. Now, I think he's putting out a book or something like that. But he said that after the Browns cut him in 2016, he actually attempted suicide. So this is pretty shocking. Now, I remember when Johnny was trying to come back, he had made it in the CFL, or went to the CFL, and then made it back around to the Alliance of American Football. Now, this was let's just call it the XFL before the XFL. And he got in the game, and believe it or not, Johnny could move the needle. For whatever reason, a lot like Tebow, ratings were always big. And the ratings for that game was substantially higher for the Johnny Manziel game. He came in and he actually played pretty well until he got hit and knocked out of the game. And one of those, look, that's the byproduct of the fact that Johnny just wasn't very big. All right? And he didn't have the passing skills of a Russell Wilson. And he wasn't as fast as somebody like Russell. But I'm not so sure that everybody knew how to use Johnny either, right? This is pretty wild. Oh, he's got a new Netflix documentary. That's what it is. God, I'm going to have to watch that. I literally paused the Owen Hart Dark Side of the Ring documentary to start filming this. Johnny Manziel revealed in a new documentary he attempted suicide after the Browns cut him in 2016. Quote, Untold Johnny Football, scheduled to release Tuesday, is the latest Netflix series that gives us an inside look at one of the top football stars of the 21st century who ultimately flamed out of the NFL despite winning the 2012 Heisman Trophy at Texas A&M. He had some historically awesome college games, guys. But look, we know the Heisman is not always a litmus test as to whether or not you're going to succeed in the NFL. A lot of times as a quarterback, you won't. It's funny how that is with Heisman Trophy winners, but we've seen it a lot, actually. His lack of success in the league, mixed with substance abuse issues and bipolar disorder diagnosis, left Manziel seeing no way out. Quote, I had planned to do everything I wanted to do at that point in my life, spend as much money as I possibly could, and then my plan was to take my life, Manziel explained in a documentary. In the documentary, Manziel said that following the 2015 season, his second in the league, during which he went 2-4 as a starter with Cleveland, he began using Oxycontin and cocaine on a daily basis. Wow. He was 215 pounds in January of that year, and by the time September rolled around, he had dropped to 175 pounds. That's not good for playing in the NFL at quarterback. More off-the-field problems came in January 2016 when his girlfriend accused him of hitting and threatening her, which led to a misdemeanor assault charge. Though lawyers reached an agreement with officials to get the charge dropped under the conditions, the Browns, after using their first-round pick on him in 2014 in the NFL draft, cut him before the start of his third season. Manziel was later diagnosed with bipolar disorder that year, he said in the documentary, and according to multiple reports, however, he refused to go to rehab and his substance abuse issues got worse. There's the money sign he most famously was making throughout college and pro football. The quarterback said he went on a $5 million bender before ultimately trying to take his own life. I wanted to get as bad as humanly possible to where it made sense, and it made it seem like an excuse and an out for me. Manziel bought a gun prior to his bender to ultimately carry out his suicide attempt, but it didn't work. Still to this day, I don't know what happened, but the gun just clicked on me, Manziel said in the documentary per reports. The suicide attempt gave Manziel a new perspective on life despite a broken family relationship because he refused to get treatment. Manziel returned to Texas where he began his recovery. Quote, it's been a long, long road, and I don't know if it's been great or if it's been bad. That's kind of still up for debate, Paul Manziel, his father, said in the documentary per reports. But we're blessed, and he's still with us, and we can mend all fences still. I think Johnny's got a lot better days coming than what he's had. Manziel had a national spotlight on him during his freshman 2012 campaign with the Aggies. He threw for 3,700 yards, 26 TDs, 9 picks, while rushing for 1,400 yards and 21 touchdowns. And they're going to talk about the game I most remember. He was a dual-threat quarterback who shocked the world when he led the Aggies into Tuscaloosa to face the Alabama Crimson Tide and blew up their highly ranked defense in one of the most hostile college football environments in the country. He was not fazed at all in Alabama. Texas A&M won 29-24 that night. Manziel threw for 253, 2 touchdowns, and ran for 92 yards to beat the number 1 ranked team. But Manziel admitted his popularity, which seemed to come immediately during the Heisman Trophy season, was hard to handle. And though it was known Manziel dealt with demons off the field, few knew until now just how low things got for him. Man, that's pretty crazy indeed. I always sometimes get a little skeptical of these kind of things when somebody has a book or a documentary that's coming with it, right? Because obviously they're going to put out some nuggets out there that's going to add some juice to this thing, right? And sell some copies. It always felt weird. I mean, Johnny, as well as I liked Johnny in college as a football player, and I always rooted for him to make it. But at the same time, let's be real. He was too small, and honestly, he should have gotten picked in the 6th round. You know, and I'm not trying to be a hater, but that's just at that time, especially in the league where that was still a fully pro-style NFL, right? Now, yeah, they've incorporated, like if Johnny came in now and had all of his personal shit together, it's possible that one of these teams could figure out how to use him. You know, put him with a coach like Shane Steichen, like Jalen Hurts. Don't let him play for a couple of years. 3 years, and put him in after he's learned how to play NFL quarterback. But we know it was a different league back then. He took over. I mean, the NFL draft, Manziel. I remember that. He was the story. a lot like, obviously, Tim Tebow fully had his shit together off the field. And honestly, of the two quarterbacks, Johnny could play pure quarterback better than Tebow had, but Tebow had the size and the persona, but it was that same kind of media fire around those two. Just in the same way, every time Tebow would play, boom, he moved the needle. I mean, my God, when we thought he was going to play possibly tight end in Jacksonville, those videos did really well on this channel because it's Tim Tebow. Johnny was the same kind of deal. In a different way, but the same kind of deal. I think Skip Bayless still believes Johnny Manziel could play in the NFL. It's interesting. Man, I wish he wasn't so old because Johnny Manziel, USFL, XFL, that kind of persona in a league like the XFL could help. I think it would have helped the AEF. Whether or not they would have stayed around or not, who knows? But that league Johnny literally showed up in the game, and then the next week I think the league was out of business. That's wild. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.